Hi, True Avatars, and welcome to your weekly queer video game podcast. This is episode 35, and I am your host, Zoe Wild. I am a transgender and bisexual woman, and my pronouns are she, her. This week is almost entirely headlines, True Avatars. We're heading into the time of year when everyone is revealing their game, talking about their game, getting ready to release their game in the months leading up to the holidays. So please brace yourself, as the podcast will be very heavy on news from now until basically the end of June, and then hopefully July, August, it slows down a little bit, and then again, heading into September, October, November, December. It'll probably be not as busy as June condensed, but over the course of 4 months, it'll be very steady. So, but anyway, this week's headlines are very queer, which is refreshing, even if it's not all good news. We have news on Borderlands 4, Haunted Chocolatier, the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, The Last of Us TV show, Syberia, and more. Plus, there's layoffs, because of course there fucking is. It wouldn't be the video game industry without them. And Take-Two, the publisher behind GTA and Borderlands, seems to be backtracking on rainbow capitalism and not for good reasons. And after all of that, as you've heard already, our guest Ekamy is already going through this intro. We're going to discuss the 6-1 indie showcase and all the queer games revealed, including Truth Scrapper from the dev that made In Stars in Time. Finally, we'll wrap up with discussion. Ekamy is like cheering now. She's
so
like
excited.
pounding her fists with a discussion on the queer indie game demo we've been playing, Quantum Witch, and also Crescent County. So buckle up, babes. We've got a lot to cover, and like, as you know already, spoiler alert, joining me for all of this, returning after a whole 7 days of not being on the podcast, is Ekamy. Ekamy is a pansexual woman whose pronouns are she, her. Ekamy can be found on Twitch, streaming games, cooking, and book club. How are you, Ekamy?
I'm good, thank you.
You giggly bitch.
It's hard not to. I'm so excited.
This is going to be a fun episode. It's very queer. I'm like, actually, like, I was like, every time I got a headline and I put it in my notes app, like, as the week was going through, I was like, oh my God, more news. But then I like looked, as I was like going through and doing all the show notes and getting everything ready for us, I was like, wow, this is all gay.
Hell yeah.
And so we won't do a queer game of the week this week, unfortunately. This might actually be very inconsistent over the course of the next month because things are very busy, and like pretty much every episode is already pre-planned and filled based on the schedule for not E3 and like June releases. The Switch 2 is coming out. There's also like, there's directs and PlayStation showcases that are already being leaked and rumored. Like it's going to be a wild month. So, and Ekamy is already like booked in for so many of those podcasts. I feel so bad. Like I basically, anyway,
now I'm looking forward to it. Oh yeah, no, it'll be good.
But before we jump into everything, I do have a few quick favors to ask of you, True Avatars. If you like this podcast, please consider leaving a comment, rating, or review on your preferred podcast platform. Leaving feedback not only helps with visibility of the podcast, but it does help me know what you like and don't like about the podcast, so I can improve it as I find my footing. The podcast is growing, though, so please like, share, subscribe, do all the things we have like YouTube, we have Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Facebook. There is a TikTok. I never post on it. I'm waiting to create some video content that I can actually use to create, short TikToks. I've never been a short form content kind of girl, so it's very hard for me to just like drum up 30 seconds of queer news. But I could probably do that, by myself at some point. But yeah, like, please consider seriously just like sharing the podcast. If we post on Blue Sky, like share that, comment, give your thoughts, every little bit helps. The podcast is growing though, so it is helpful when you do everything, like this. So, and also remember to tune in because this is a weekly queer video game podcast. Check in every week. I aim to bring you news, interviews, up-to-date discussions that are relevant to queer gamers. So you have a safe space to check in on the world of gaming from a 2S LGBTQIA+ lens. And that acronym right there is why I never ever say the acronym, because I had to say it really slowly just to not stumble over it. And I know I talk really fast. I'm sure the listeners are like, anyone new is like, why does she talk so fast? It's a feature, not a bug.
Absolutely.
Because speaking of like, we'd be here all day reading through this news if I didn't talk fast. But let's jump into the news, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so first headline, Stephen Totillo of GameFile, and I did I didn't pay. I gave my credit card information to get access to the free trial for the Substack, which is GameFile. To get access to the full article. And I will be quoting from the paid side of this article, which I think is ethically allowed. I'm not an actual journalist, but I think if I were a journalist, I'm allowed to quote something if I technically quote unquote paid for it, right? So anyway, Stephen Totillo has revealed that through looking at Take-Two's investor reports compared from last year to this year, and Take-Two makes GTA, Borderlands, they've removed references to diversity and inclusion and a lot of queer stuff. So I'm just going to read from the relevant bits of the article here. There's quite a bit, and then we'll just kind of like tear it down. So Grand Theft Auto, NBA 2K, and Borderlands publisher Take-Two Interactive has deleted references to diversity and inclusion from its annual report to investors this year, and the list of employment awards that it boasts about each year no longer includes 2 accolades it was granted for its support of LGBTQ plus employees. Old 2024. So this is in the investor report specifically. This is from last year. It's quite long, so buckle in. We believe our culture of compassion and respect fosters a warm, welcoming environment for all qualified candidates and colleagues. Specific efforts we take include company-sponsored service projects in the communities in which we operate, providing financial and other support to organizations working to eradicate social injustice, as well as providing educational, athletic, and other opportunities to underserved communities. Working with organizations to support the rights of the LGBTIQ plus community. They changed up the acronym a little bit there. Endeavoring to expand the diversity of our industry's candidate pool through scholarships to minority game design students and contributions to organizations providing STEM opportunities to children in underserved communities. Delivering interview training and career counseling to young adults in those same communities, and celebrating cultural differences through various employee affinity groups and company events and offerings. So that was 2024. Sounds pretty good, right? Like they hit all the buzzwords, they hit all the keywords.
Mm-hmm.
So 2025, this is much shorter. Our culture, grounded in compassion, collaboration, and a commitment to excellence, supports an inclusive and welcoming environment for prospective employees and the broader community. And that's it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
It gets worse because there's another really nice thing from 2024 that just didn't make it to 2025. So, a list of awards the company received is much shorter. So 2024. These efforts and more contributed to Take-Two being named one of Forbes' best mid-size employers in 2019, 2021, 2022, and 2024, and one of Newsweek's America's Greatest Workplaces for Diversity, Women, LGBTQ+, and Job Starters in 2024. In addition, we were included on Fortune's Great Places to Work list in 2020, 2021, and 2022, and were honored by Gay Gaming Professionals in 2021 as a DEI and B leader in the interactive entertainment industry. So, 2025. These efforts and more contributed to Take-Two being named one of the Forbes' best mid-size employers list of 4 of the last 6 years and certified as a great place to work by Fortune every year from 2020 through 2025, including in the UK in 2025. So they just took out like all the actual references to the diversity things in there. And that's all. The article's really long and there's a lot of other comparisons. Even the free version does have more stuff that I didn't mention. I'll link it in the show notes, obviously, so anyone who's listening can go check it out. Or you can subscribe to the free trial and check out the full article if you want. But
oh, that's a shame. Like I would have thought that at first maybe if they were shortening it, maybe it was like, I mean, I get this sometimes at my job where they're just like, oh, like this is a lot that we put out before. Can we maybe like condense it, but still keep the spirit of everything that we have said, right? But I mean, it just seems like they've just removed everything. Like that was like a really, like there was some really cool stuff that was mentioned in the old 2024 paragraph, basically, and the awards they were mentioning. Like even for the awards, I was like, oh, maybe they just like did they not receive like relevant awards? But no, in the new one, they're talking about like awards through the years from 2020 through 2025. So they could have absolutely have highlighted that. I would be shocked if this wasn't like related to politics, like with everything going on in the US. But it's just a real shame. Like they highlighted some really great stuff in the old description that they had.
Yeah, I'm curious too if like all this, it's not in their investors report. So I wonder if that means like these things don't exist anymore, specifically in regards to like all the community stuff and the company culture stuff that they were kind of pushing forward. So I wonder if it's not in the investor report because and like obviously it's because of Trump. Like regardless, like this is because of Trump. There's no question about that. Even Stephen Totillo posits that. But I'm like wondering is like, did they remove it from the investors report because of Trump, or is it not in the investors report because they've canceled those initiatives because of Trump?
Right.
That would be my question. And I don't think Stephen Totillo really goes into that. He's just comparing the two. In fact, his article is very, very diplomatic. Like you can't tell actually, if you think about it, which way he leans politically. He's literally just like, these are differences between the two things. It's because of Trump. Like, and all these things are factually true. Trump hates the queer community. He hates diversity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he's like telling people to like remove that. So I thought it was very interesting reading this article where I was like, I don't know if this guy's an ally or not, but at least he's reporting on this shit.
Yeah, at the very least, he's bringing it to light and like specifically showing the comparison between what was written before and what is now written. Yeah, it's just unfortunate, I guess. But that is an interesting idea to think about if it was if some of these initiatives are just null now, not since Trump's administration.
Yeah. And the worst thing too is that I was like looking up this article, just like seeing what I could find, see if anyone else reported on it, if there's any other news, and searching the article online. I came across Reddit threads, and the only supportive one obviously was the LGBTQ plus subreddit. But there were other Reddit posts, and everyone was like the same article that everyone read the same article, and they were like, this is great. Like, this is great news. So like the fact that the article is so, anyway, I'm just so like enamored by the fact that this article is so diplomatically neutral that like people who were like, this is like, there are people who thought this was a good thing, people who thought this was a bad thing, and the article left no commentary for people to just like, people just like added their own commentary like we're doing right now. So
yeah. Interesting.
And do keep in mind, too, this comes from, like, this is the company that's publishing Borderlands 4. And Borderlands 3 was a very heavily queer game. And, you know, obviously there's been fake news lately about GTA 6 having pride parades. And I did tweet about this, or skeet about this, whatever you want to call it, on Blue Sky. There actually is no confirmation that there's going to be pride parades, queer anything in GTA 6, actually. There's not even an announcement. Like, there's no confirmation or disconfirmation one way or the other. But I mean, GTA 6, so like, we don't know how GTA 6 leans on queer stuff, but Borderlands 4 is looking pretty queer to me. I'm pretty sure when we first spoke about the announcement, you said your partner had noticed something about a siren, and like that has to be a trans character because of reasons. I can't remember the reasons that were explained by you, but
it could be. This was in a much earlier episode, but I think he was saying that sirens are typically understood it's typically a feminine power. But there was one example where in another game where there was a male character who wielded the power, but I think it was him and his sister, and it was kind of like they were twins, so it was kind of like the power was shared or something. I don't 100% know because I haven't played the game, but there seems to be like that's where his mind went, and I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Like if the person, the male presenting character in the trailer would be trans or something like that. I don't know. I just think it'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also Borderlands 3 had some non-binary characters, or at least one non-binary character, I think in the form of a robot. Again, I did go through this list at one point, trying to figure out early on. I was like, what games are queer specifically? Like, I should probably have a mental list of that.
Yeah.
But speaking of Borderlands 4, because this debacle keeps getting worse, this is not related to queer news, but this does relate to Borderlands 4. Randy Pitchford has put his foot in his mouth this week when a fan on Twitter asked him not to price Borderlands 4 at $80. So first off, the price has not been confirmed yet at all. Like, there are no pre-orders yet. You can't, like, we don't know how much it's going to cost anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
If I had to bet, it probably will be, $70 or $80, because I think every time Borderlands has launched, it has been whatever the full price of a game is at that time.
Yeah.
And now 2 of the 3 consoles it's launching on, their standard price is $80.
Yeah.
So like Nintendo and Xbox have already said, like, $80 games are now the norm. Sony has not followed suit with that yet. I'm certain that they're going to price up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Randy Pitchford, creator of Borderlands, in total PS3 fashion, said, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen.
Ugh.
That was his on Twitter response. Like, he put it in writing. He didn't just like say it offhand to a fan on the street. He said it in writing. The tweet is still up. He's standing by it.
Oh boy.
So at best, this comment is ignorant. At worst, it comes across as elitist. Like when a Sony exec, like I said, during the PS3 days, told fans to get a second job to pay for the PS3 when it was significantly higher than the PS2 in price. Fans were obviously upset about this. To make things worse, he then went and did a Q&A explaining that game development costs are up, which is why game prices are increasing, which we know, Randy. We know why these game prices are like going up. We know that games are more expensive. We know that cost of living is going up, but you're pricing your fans out of your hobby, and they're just asking you, hat in hand to like not price things higher. And obviously, yes, he's also said that he has no control over the price, but if he has no control over the price, he certainly has a big stake in this fight to tell people to go fuck themselves, in so many words, about the price. You know, the real fans are going to buy it. Like, okay, real fans are the rich ones? Like, speaking of that though, so Larian Studios, Michael Dowse, called him out. Thankfully, Larian Studios is on the right side of economic history right now. He said, inflation exists. We give inflation bumps from example to employees, and price increases can make sense. But saying real fans will find a way is gross because it assumes your game is more important during a cost of living crisis than, for example, making it day to day. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Larian just coming in and just continuing to be bamfs. Like, we love Larian. Yeah, like, hearing this, I'm like, if he was just responding to someone, just be vague. Like, you don't need to say, like, you could literally be like, I can't confirm. Like, okay, then you can't confirm. Cool. We can probably already assume it's all going to be $80. You can say that without just being like, well, if you're a real fan, then like you'll find a way to get the money for this. Like, no, like that's not how it works. And like, obviously, yes, we understand games are more expensive to make now. You obviously also want to pay your employees what they're, for their work and what it's worth. And like, I do wonder if like at some point there's going to be some weird bubble burst where like people are maybe if games get so expensive to the point that like not a lot of people are as much like go buying them as much, something's got to give. I don't know. Like it's, but all that to say anyway is that the way that he said that was not kind, and he could have just said, "You'll find out." Like, like you didn't have to be, really specific about it, I guess.
Well, to your point about, a bubble bursting, like, I think it's possible that could happen, and I don't have the source for this. I'll try to find it later if I find it and link it in the show notes. If not, take it with a grain of salt. But I did read somewhere recently that video games aren't going to see any kind of bubble burst, no matter how expensive they get. Like, obviously, barring, some $200, $300 per game increase, obviously. But like, games going up $10, $20 is going to be inconsequential because people are going to stay home more in a cost of living crisis. They are going to invest, like the Switch 2 is selling out despite the cost of living crisis. Right. Yeah. So the idea here is that like, you have a video game, you get more time and more value out of a video game than say going to movies where you're buying snacks. You're going somewhere else. You're only getting 2 hours of your time. You've got to pay for multiple people. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Whereas you buy an $80 copy of Borderlands 4, for example, again, not confirming that's the price, we don't know, but then, that game is like, how many hours is Borderlands 3 to beat? Let me check this, actually. I'm going to look up how long to beat Borderlands 3. And again, this is not, don't do this for indie games. I know I have a YouTube video talking about this a little bit, but like, don't, indie games are a little bit of a different beast. Like if you're, $10 for a 1 hour indie game, obviously that doesn't math the same way, 100 hours for a Borderlands 4 or a Breath of the Wild, right? But let's see here. But people do think like this too, so
interesting. I mean, I will say, like, I've certainly like stayed at home a whole heck of a lot more.
That's just it too. Yeah. I used to go to the movies all the time before the pandemic, and now I stay home and play video games a lot more. Yeah. So sorry, Borderlands 3 to main story was 23.5 hours, main plus extras 45.5 hours. Fair. So like, not the best example. I got 130 hours out of Tears of the Kingdom, right? So that month, the 2 months it took me to beat Tears of the Kingdom, I don't think I went to the movies. Why would I?
Yeah. There's Zelda to play.
There's Zelda to play. Like, first off, I wanted to play it, but also I spent $90 on it. Yeah. Canadian. Yeah. And, like, it's worth my time and attention. And I don't have to leave my apartment to go see Zelda on the big screen. I'm going to in 2027. Let's be clear. Yeah. But, yeah. Anyway, all that is to say is that Take-Two not having a good week.
Yeah, not really.
Okay, so the queer news continues. So there are two Naughty Dog related headlines here. This is the first time in the show notes I've ever combined two headlines into one. But anyway, according to Craig Mazin, the showrunner of The Last of Us TV show, season 4 is definitely happening because they can't wrap up the show in 3 seasons. I'm not shocked. I'm a little shocked, but I'm not that shocked. Insert Fry from Futurama meme. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but if I had to guess, season 4 is going to be mostly original content, though, because the way the game is split up, it's kind of in 3 sections, but it's more like 40% is one story, 40% is another part of the game, and then the last, like, I wouldn't even call it 20%. It's like 10 to 15% is just like this one short story arc to wrap up the story. And I don't see that story arc being like, first off, season 1 was 9 episodes, season 2 was 7 episodes. So let's say on the conservative side, it's 6 episodes, the shortest they'll do for a season. Like, I can't see 6 episodes carrying out this one story with Ellie at the end of the game. So,
yeah. I was actually talking about this a little bit with my partner. And I was a little surprised, mostly because I don't think I actually knew that it was going to be even 3 seasons. Like, I didn't know that was also planned. So I was like, oh wow, 4 seasons, like, for the second game. That's pretty lengthy, considering that they did the first game in 1 season, of course. And my partner was like, yeah, like, I mean, if they, like, he's played the second game, so I'm sure he probably has that idea of, like, the game in 3 parts. Like, that's maybe the idea that they're going for. We haven't watched season 2 yet. But he was like, yeah, it would have been nice, like, I don't know if maybe I assume they didn't know they were going to have maybe more than 1 season when they made the first season, but it would have been nice to, if they were splitting up the game into different seasons like they probably are doing for season 2, 3, 4, if the first game would have done, like, you know, 1 season to be winter, 1 season to be spring, or no pun intended there, obviously, but if they could do that. But yeah, I mean, season 4 being its own content would be interesting, because, like, I agree, I find it very, I haven't played the second game, but I find it difficult to see them stretching 1 game over 3 seasons. So
yeah, especially since they did say too that they're not going to do the Game of Thrones thing where they're going to, like, go beyond the story of the second game.
Okay.
But they haven't shied away from original content mixed into the current the pre-existing story they're already telling.
That's fair. Yeah.
I won't spoil last week's episode, and when I say last week too, we're recording this Sunday before episode 7 airs, so I'm talking about episode 6. And episode 6 is a beautiful, beautiful episode. It's some stuff from the game, and a lot of it is original content, and it's very well done. But, like, yeah, they, like, the stuff with Bill and Frank, that was mostly original. Yeah. You know, seeing how the outbreak started. Like, we didn't really see entirely how it started. We didn't see that initial Patient Zero event, but we saw the reaction to it. That's not in the game either. Yeah. So they're not scared of, like, showing original stuff, and I'm certain that they're going to have to, either that or season 3 is going to be even shorter than seasons 1 and 2, because anyway, I can't say more because that's going to spoil the game. Yeah. And I know you haven't played it either, or at least you started it but haven't finished it, kind of thing. So.
Neither. Yeah, I gotta start it. Like, I'm at that crossroads between, like, should I start the series, the TV series, or should I just play the game? Because I'd played a bit of the first game, but I hadn't beat it before I finished the first season. I knew the ending anyway, like, it'd been out long enough, but I think I just have to sit down and play the second game.
That's fair. Yeah, the second season is much more streamlined too. They skip over some stuff. I got to there's a section in the second game where you get to, like, a big kind of it's not open world, but there's, like, a really big open area where you can kind of, like, complete objectives in any order. It's kind of like, did you play on anyone who played Uncharted 4? I'm going to spoil a little bit of Uncharted 4. There's a section on Uncharted 4 where you're, like, completing a bunch of puzzles, and you have to go to different, like, ruins in this open area with a truck. And it's a similar idea. You have a horse, you're walking around this, like, section of Seattle, and you are completing objectives, you are exploring buildings, you are fighting infected, and it's just kind of like, it's a bit monotonous in both games, but there's a section like that, and, like, they don't show any of that in the show, for example. They could have spent an episode on that, just, like, time with Ellie and Dina, but anyway. Okay, so so we have one more Naughty Dog headline here. Getting back to it. Neil Druckmann has also confirmed that Naughty Dog is working on a second unannounced game in addition to Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. What is it? We don't know. The implication in the article is that it's either being worked on by the director of Uncharted: The Lost Legacy or the director of The Last of Us Part 2. Okay. Which says to me that it's a game in the style of one of those, maybe Last of Us Part 3.
Okay.
but that's speculation.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Then there's obviously the question of when were we going to see it? When is it coming out?
Yeah. I mean, I'm down for any, like if it's headed by the director of Uncharted Lost Legacy, would 100% be down for that. And I'm sure I'll enjoy Last of Us Part 2. So, I mean, yeah, I've enjoyed the Naughty Dog games, from the ones that I have played. So I'm interested to hear more eventually.
Yeah, I mean, them doing that, spending years on that like MMO game, like Last of Us, like multiplayer game that they were doing that was canceled. Like they spent at least from 2019 to whenever it was canceled, like last year. So they spent 5 years on like half the development staff were working on that. So whatever they're working on now, like I don't think we're going to see anything. Maybe we see Intergalactic on PS5. Maybe it's cross-gen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of the cost of video games, coming back from earlier, I can only segue so much in this, but and also I want to kind of space out the bad news too.
Yeah.
But if the cost of video games going up wasn't enough for you, we're losing another loyalty program as well. Actually, I could have segued by saying, speaking of PlayStation, PlayStation is screwing us all over again. PlayStation Stars, the very recently launched, to the point you may not have even heard of it at this point, loyalty program. It allows you to earn points on purchases and in-game activities, and it's now set to end November 2nd, 2026. So for anyone who doesn't know, PlayStation Stars, they let you earn points, spend those points on gift cards like that are added directly to your account. You could redeem them for full games. And limited to a certain selection. It wasn't just like, any game on the store. You'd have to earn enough money to pay for the game on the store. But Balatro, for example, I think was on there till recently. I think even Stardew Valley was on there at one point. And then you could also get digital collectibles, kind of like the trophies you get from beating games. So now that you've heard how great the program is, and now here's news about the closure. So starting today, PlayStation Stars will no longer accept new members for this version of the program. So if you're hearing about this now and thinking, I would love to join this, no, sweetheart, you can't, no, not for you. Bye-bye. Nope. See you. Turn around and walk away. If members choose to cancel their PlayStation Stars membership starting today, it will not be possible to rejoin this version of the program, so don't leave. And members will lose all earned points. So definitely don't leave if you're in. Current PlayStation Stars members can still earn digital collectibles, points, and level up their status until July 3rd, 2025 at 7:59 a.m. PDT, 3:59 BST, and 11:59 p.m. JST. After this date, there will be no new PlayStation Stars campaigns available or any additional rewards or status benefits to earn. This version of the PlayStation Stars program will fully end on November 2nd, 2026, and current PlayStation Stars members can continue to redeem points as long as their points don't expire before then. So, first Nintendo kills their gold points, now PlayStation kills PlayStation Stars.
Yeah. I only knew about PlayStation Stars because my partner is honestly just playing PlayStation more, so that he's in this program. And we actually used our points at around Christmas time this past Christmas, where we had enough that we could put enough points towards like getting a free game, basically. And I will say, like, he has told me about, like, at least he's experienced like a couple of glitches like every now and again with this program, like when they'll be like, oh, if you do this you'll get this reward, and then it's not available. And actually the game purchase thing that I mentioned, or the free game thing that I mentioned for Christmas time, was we actually experienced a slight glitch where we were like, we're picking between two games, and we were like, okay, let's go with this one. And then we tried to use our points for it, and it just wouldn't, like, there was an error code that came up, it just wouldn't give it to us, and we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll go for our second choice, and that ended up being a really great game anyway. But all that to say, like, he's known about it for a while. It's a bit of a bummer, and I think he was saying that, like, he would not be surprised if there would be something that replaces PlayStation Stars, some other kind of reward program, but I don't know if there's been any news or anything about that. It's probably just speculation at that point. So I'm a little bummed if about this news, purely because, like, Stars gave us a free game for Christmas, and that was a game that we really, really enjoyed. But yeah, just seems to be the way of the devs, way of the big companies nowadays, big gaming companies.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that you couldn't redeem for a game back around Christmas time, and I think it was around then that PlayStation Stars was down for an entire month. So I actually do wonder, your partner could be right, actually, that maybe they're trying to do something else that is more successful, because the fact that you have to opt into it, the fact that people haven't, and the fact that the service went down for a really long period of time. And I think the fact that you redeemed anything at all around that time is surprising to me, actually, because I'm pretty sure it was down at least there. I remember wanting to redeem for something, and I was like, I gotta wait because I have $15 of points to redeem or to claim at least.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, and I was like, great, they're gonna take down this program. I'm never gonna get that money.
Yeah.
And I was cheated out of it. I felt like I was being cheated out of money, and I was checking the PlayStation Stars subreddit regularly to see when it was going back up because it's burning a hole in my pocket, right? But yeah, no, maybe they will relaunch it. I don't think Nintendo's relaunching gold points in any way. I don't think we're ever getting a loyalty program from Nintendo ever again. I think it was too good, and that's why they canceled it. Because if it was just the Switch 2, they would have kept it active on Switch 1.
Yeah.
Even buying 3DS games, when the 3DS, you could still buy games a couple years ago. If you bought a 3DS game or a Wii U game, you still earned points on that purchase that went to your Switch account.
Yeah.
If they were linked. I think Nintendo is just saying, if they raise prices, the way they're treating things now is they're Disney-fying. They're going full Disney, where they're they even have a vault of games that they refuse to re-release, right? They're drip feeding that. So they're just going full Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully more something PlayStation related. I think it should just be you earn cash back, a percentage of cash back every time you buy a game. At a certain point, you reach a threshold, you get $5 and it gets automatically added to your account. So you can get $5 off a future game.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
We don't need, I think the digital collectible thing was kind of silly, but anyway. We're going to get to the good news shortly. I promise, True Avatars. We first have one more disappointing headline, actually, just one. Playtonic, the studio that makes the ukulele franchise, the ex-Rare devs, is laying people off. So like I said, it wouldn't be a full week of news without layoffs. So anyway, we don't have official numbers. We only know about this because of various staff postings on social media about looking for work. And apparently, according to some of those posts, more are at risk of being laid off as well. From Nintendo Life, we were first alerted to the news by a Blue Sky post from former community manager Steve James, who left the company just 2 weeks ago on his own terms. Quote, "Should be a week of happiness and positivity for me, but instead I'm sad, angry, and concerned for my former colleagues," Steve says. "Many talented folks are at risk of redundancy at Playtonic. If you see them posting for jobs, please help them out." On LinkedIn, Steve, along with the current brand manager at Playtonic, Annie Valkama, have been sharing posts from former colleagues who are now looking for work. These include junior VFX artist Jupin Ahmed and assistant producer May Davidson. Alongside them, UI artist James Feekins is, quote, at risk of redundancy.
Yeah. It's nice to with all of with all the layoff news, there's been at least at least two that I recall us chatting about, where it's nice to hear or nice to see the support from the higher ups to be hey, these are really talented people, they do good work. Please, if you have if you see a job that's an opportunity for them, share their LinkedIn and all that. So yeah, it's unfortunate. At the very least, there is a little bit of light with that aspect, I suppose. Yeah.
Like I said last week, I'd rather report on it than not, but I don't really have too much to add, but at least it's in there for posterity's sake. And so people know, and also people can decide too and vote with their wallet. Oh, hey, one of my favorite developers or one of my favorite publishers is laying people off. Maybe I don't want to support that studio depending on how it was handled. And again, not supporting the studio too, it's a double-edged sword. If you don't want to support the studio because they're already struggling, obviously, with the layoffs, you hope it's because they're struggling. You don't hope they struggle, obviously, but you hope it's not a CEO trying to, conserve, oh, I want that bonus, I want that Maserati, so I need to lay off 3 people this week, or I'm not getting my Maserati at the end of Q4 kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So, again, it's never CEOs taking pay cuts, it's always the employees being laid off. There's no Iwatas in the world anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so time for some good news. Now, again, this might not be good news for some people, depending on your outlook, but I promise you it's not bad news, I guess. But I don't know, it's not layoff cost of living bad news. It's film adaptations of video games, more of them, more and more. I feel like every week we're going to see a new headline. Most of these are probably never going to come out, to be clear, because it's just the volume of them, like stuff gets picked up for rights and licensing all the time and it never comes out. But anyway, first up we have Street Fighter. Street Fighter is getting a movie. Jason Momoa from Game of Thrones and Minecraft, Andrew Koji from Bullet Train, Noah Centineo, and Roman Reigns are all in talks to star. Japanese-American director Kitao Sakurai, known for directing Netflix's Bad Trip, is directing, and the writer and the release date are currently unknown, and technically so are the actors, because they're actually only in talks, right? Okay. So,
okay.
Do you play Street Fighter? Are you going to watch the Street Fighter movie?
I have not played a single Street Fighter game, other than, like...
Same.
Like, I've played the Street Fighter characters in Smash, or character, I should say. Yeah, that seems like it'd be kind of fun, I imagine. And I mean, the new Street Fighter game, like, that came out, I guess last year, or maybe is coming out. I don't know. There's a lot of hype around it, or I know a lot of people who are really excited about it.
I think there's still DLC coming out for Street Fighter 6 right now.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So
and there's a Switch 2 version coming. Maybe if that's what you're thinking of.
Oh, perhaps. Yeah. So I feel like, I mean, if they do it right, like, I'm sure people would enjoy it. It seems like, it's a over the top fighting style, but set in like a more realistic like setting. So I think it probably would lend itself nicely to be a movie. So
yeah, 100% agree. 10 out of 10, no notes, perfect response to my news reporting. The other news, the one I don't actually know how they're going to adapt this. First off, I haven't played this game, so that's part of the reason. But also, it's an open world, vague, Souls-like game that has a lot of lore, but not, as far as I know, not a huge narrative thread through it. Again, I could be wrong. Anyway, so Elden Ring is getting a movie. That's the point I'm trying to make here, is yes. It's Elden Ring.
Yeah.
It's coming from Alex Garland, actually, who's one of my favorite filmmakers. He wrote 28 Days Later franchise. He directed Ex Machina and Annihilation, and this is where he's my favorite directors, because I love those movies. I love Ex Machina. I love Annihilation. Two great sci-fi movies with female leads.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Really highly recommend. If they're a little bit dark, don't check them out if you're like, if you what's the word? Like, if you have a weak constitution, maybe don't check them out, especially Annihilation. It's very, there's some body horror, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a little gross. But Ex Machina is like really, really good. Just like very still relevant to today. Like, maybe we shouldn't be fucking with AI. Maybe we shouldn't be fucking with human like robots. Maybe we shouldn't be creating these things. So it's a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Anyway, so A24 is also making the movie, and they're working in collaboration with Bandai Namco. And that's all we know. I'm sure people in the comment section will be like, A24, yeah, I love A24. They're hit or miss for me. But, A24 also doesn't really make a lot of huge budget movies. And I feel like Elden Ring needs like hundreds of millions of dollars to be good. And I don't see how A24 is going to get that funding unless they work with like one of the big studios like Warner Brothers or Universal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't played Elden Ring either, but I know like quite a bit about the tie-in of its lore to like it ties into Dark Souls. Bloodborne also has its like there's a lot of deep lore that like people do lore videos like on YouTube, and they're like an hour long, like each video. And some of it's like really interesting, but I can see what you mean by like they're not being like a strong narrative through line necessarily, because like I mean the basis of like Dark Souls is that, at least for what I remember of Dark Souls 3, was that like you're going around and you're you want to defeat the lords, and probably I think Elden Ring's actually similar. I think you defeat the Elden Lords. I think that's the whole thing, and then you gather enough like power or something, whatever power is in that game. Yeah, I mean, I liked Ex Machina, generally. I haven't seen it for a long time, but, I think that could be interesting.
We need to have a movie night. We'll watch it again, because I used to watch that movie.
It's a good one. And I quite like A24 as well. But I agree in that, I feel like they would need to have a lot of fun, like a lot of budget behind it. And I mean, I think it would, I think it would work wonderfully as an animated film if they, I know that's not the implication here, but, it would be really cool if that was the case. But I mean, it's a very medieval fantasy. I don't think it's like too out of the realm of like a lot of other live action movies that have done well with that settings to just make a good Elden Ring movie. So, yeah, I'd be interested to see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm sure, especially too, the thing that Alex Garland does best is like the little bits and pieces that you discover in a performance or in the movie. You know, like it's not just about like the sum of it, the narrative of the story too. It's always about like what does each scene imply? What does each detail really mean towards this universe? And what does it mean towards our, you know, looking inward to us? So I think the pieces are there for a good Elden Ring movie. I just don't know what the actual like log line would be of like, yeah, dude goes in, and like it'd be like a Shadow of the Colossus movie, which I think they are trying to make as well. It'd be like, okay, yeah, this guy's I think he's trying to revive or save his wife or something like that. It's been a long time since I played Shadow of the Colossus, but then you're going through and killing all these colossi. And at a certain point, it's just like, okay, the next colossi, there's really no narrative thread aside from like, you have an end goal and you got to beat these bosses. It's like a Mario movie, which I also agree was not great, but anyway.
Yeah. The story of that game is more so revealed at the end. So yeah.
Fair. And I guess, yeah, for the movie, you would just like extrapolate that and put it over the course of the thing. But then, you know, I don't know. It takes out certain games should stay games. I think Shadow of the Colossus is like the thing that makes that game great is the fact that you have to play it. Oh, yeah. Not saying that's the case for Elden Ring, but I think for Mario, and for again, I'm going to harp on this forever. Like the new Mario movie they made was no better than the one from the 90s. I'm sure that's crucifiable, but I will die on that hill. So anyway, quick follow-up on last week's Darth Vader news. So last week we talked about how, you know, Darth Vader had an AI version in Fortnite, and players convinced him to say the F word, the queer phobic slur version of the F word. Not the one I say on the podcast all the time. Fuck. The other F word. Anyway, so SAG-AFTRA, the union for actors in the US, has filed an unfair labor practice complaint against Epic Games due to the AI Darth Vader. Less to do with the controversy of what Darth Vader said, and almost nothing to do with it being an AI recreation of Darth Vader, like James Earl Jones specifically. More so that Epic seemingly already agreed to use a human sound-alike for things like this, and that's breaking the agreement in general. Ah, okay. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Not, I mean, I'm unsurprised. Not much else to say about it, but
yeah, I mean, this won't be the nail in the coffin for AI that, you know, people would hope for, especially since James Earl Jones's family is completely on board with this version of Darth Vader existing because they're profiting off it. You know, he set that up in advance before he died for his family to make money off, you know, his legacy. Yeah. So they don't really care as far as I know, but taking away jobs from union actors that were promised jobs because of something like this is obviously a big deal. I stand behind that, even though I think AI Darth Vader is like, of all the things AI could do, not the worst thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
But anyway, let's move on. Syberia is getting a remaster, the game, not the region. It's funny because we were talking about this. Syberia was inspired by the game that you talked about last week, Ekamy, which I thought was very funny. The second we finished recording the podcast last week, I saw this headline. It had come out while we were recording, and I was like, "Oh, fucking course it did." But anyway, so Syberia, do you want to describe what Syberia is? You were nodding, so it seems like you know. But if not, I can take it.
I would say go for it. I'm excited for it. I haven't played the game, but I'm excited for it.
Okay, so it is a point-and-click adventure game from 2002, in which many have theorized is an allegory for coming out of the closet, and it also was inspired by, oh my god, I've forgotten the name. What was the game you talked about last week?
Oh, The Longest Journey.
The Longest Journey. I was about to call it Dreamfall, but then I was like, no, there was The Longest Journey, there was Dreamfall, The Longest Journey, and then there's Dreamfall Chapters.
Correct.
Yes. So anyway, I actually read it's called Dreamfall for the second two games, and they put The Longest Journey and there's a subtitle. That's the way of getting around the trademark issue of developers and publishers changing hands. I think is what I read. Anyway, this game, Syberia, is getting a remaster on PS5, Xbox Series, and Steam. And the summary is as follows. Kate Walker, a brilliant lawyer from New York, is sent to a remote village in the French Alps. I did not read that. To finalize the sale of an old automaton factory. But what begins as a routine assignment soon turns into an extraordinary journey across Eastern Europe and its snow-covered landscapes. Accompanied by Oscar, a loyal and one-of-a-kind automaton, Kate sets out to explore mysterious and forgotten places filled with eccentric characters as she follows the trail of Hans Vorarlberg, a genius inventor pursuing a seemingly impossible dream, finding the last living mammoths on the mythical island of Syberia. An unexpected, and Syberia is spelled with a Y, not an I, just to be clear here. An unexpected, thrilling, and deeply emotional voyage that will challenge everything she thought she knew, including her sexuality, apparently. The release window is currently set for Q4 2025, so sometime between October and December this year.
Nice. Yeah. I have these on Switch, I believe, the Syberia 1 and 2. And these are games that, like, like I love point and click adventures. I haven't played nearly as many as I've like seen playthroughs of. Like there's if anyone is interested, I'm not involved with this like not really podcast, but like video series at all, but I watch it so often and I highly recommend it. If you like point and click adventures and you like commentary and let's plays, Mostly Walking is the best.
It's a great name for the channel.
Yeah. They all went to school together. They're all involved in game dev or game news in just different respects. They played point and click adventure games. They're very fun. One of them is a trans woman. Super cool. If you watch from the beginning of Mostly Walking, they hadn't transitioned. Like that they were known as, well, I won't that they know, but they were known. And then they transitioned maybe 2 years ago. So then I have a new name, same last name. Syberia looks really cool. It's been on my list both games have been on my list for a long time to play. And I'm really happy to hear that this is the first one's getting a remaster. Cause like I've heard no news about Syberia for so long, but I know it's a really well-loved point and click adventure from the time that it was made. So.
Yeah, you took the words. I mean, I didn't really have too much to say about it. I don't know that this is for me. Mm-hmm. It might be, it might not be. There's already so much on my plate to play that, like, if you said you were playing this and we were going to come and talk about the queer elements on the podcast, I'd be like, we can divide and conquer. I'll go play Silk Song. I don't know if that even comes out this year.
Yeah.
Okay, more news. This is another quick one. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is coming to PS5 this summer. It's coming with new features. They did not say what the new features are, but there are new features coming. And also, those new features will be added to existing versions of the game, even if you've already bought it. So Xbox Series, PC. Those will just be available as a free patch that you could just download the same way you'd update the game any other way. They didn't also say a firm date beyond the summer window, and summer is coming up fast, so they're gonna have to pinpoint. I mean, this is one of those things that I feel like a couple days before it's ready to go, they'll give the release date. They probably don't know specifically when, but they want to get the marketing cycle started, I suppose. It's weird that still everything past June really doesn't have a release date. They're slowly starting to like date stuff in the summer, like Mafia comes out early August, the new Mafia, the old country game, but. Yeah, no, it's strange. I guess everyone's kind of saving, like, first off, GTA 6 delayed everyone's announcement for the fall. Like, everyone's like, we're coming out in the fall, but because of GTA 6, we don't know. And now that GTA 6 has been delayed till next year, I'm assuming that all these release date announcements hopefully are going to be coming in a big avalanche at the beginning of June. And we'll be talking about all of those on this podcast. So if you don't want to miss anything for games that are relevant to queer interests, we will have all of those, all that coverage here, of course. Yeah. Please listen to our podcast. Mm-hmm. Haunted Chocolatier, the follow-up to Stardew Valley, is planned to release within the next 5 years. This is not really news, but I know people are kind of like, any kind of little tidbit about this game people want to know. And to be honest, knowing that it is coming out by 2030 is kind of a big deal because, like, Concerned Ape constantly keeps going back to Stardew Valley to patch it, to add new features and stuff like, because it's a very lucrative game. It makes sense that he wants to keep updating that game. But he did an interview recently, and when asked if the game would come out in the next 5 years, he said, that's the goal. There's still a lot to be done, though. So, yeah.
Cool. Good for him.
Next up, we have Lost in Cult, the gaming collectible company. They're launching a brand new line of physical games. This is exciting to me. I don't know how exciting it is I don't know if a lot of queer gamers collect physical media. I love physical media. The studios, the game companies, the publishers, they can pry my physical copies out of my cold dead hands. They can't take them away from me when stores go offline. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Lost in Cult is going to have special editions called quote unquote editions that will come with a bunch of goodies and be limited. But they're also going to do standard editions that are going to be available at retail with no plans to make them limited. So far they're doing releases on PS5 and Nintendo Switch 1, not Nintendo Switch 2. Additionally, Lost in Cult is working with the gaming website Does It Play, which is a great website, by the way. If you are a physical media collector and you want everything to be complete on disc or cartridge, check out doesitplay.org, I think, to ensure that these physical copies will be as final as possible on cartridge and disc and playable far into the future without needing updates from servers that will one day go offline. With the recent news that Nintendo games are Nintendo Switch 2 games specifically are going to be a license on a cartridge, and you still need to download the game, this is refreshing news for me. Don't know about everyone else, but I know everyone on our NS Collectors subreddit is like gaga with this news. Even better, too, Lost in Cult is going to be releasing a new game every month. Their initial lineup includes Immortality, The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow, which we were talking about last week, not on the podcast, but just privately, Ekamy. Yes. And the third game is Thank Goodness You're Here.
Nice. That's awesome. I love physical media. I don't, I would say I don't collect it as much as I used to, mostly for if I'm just don't have a whole lot of income in a month. But for games that I love, I still would really like physical editions of just like games that I would replay regularly. Like I was pretty excited for Beyond Good and Evil when that got announced for limited edition and physical. So yeah,
Did you end up ordering that one?
No, I didn't have the money, sadly. I was so close to it, though. Yeah, if there's if there ever is a re-release, which is possible, just because that game's old enough. But you're looking at me being
Video Games Plus, as I don't know if it's still in stock, but Video Games Plus was doing it like a pre-order window. For shipping in August for that batch that Limited Run Games did. I don't know if it included the special edition, but the base version of the game, Switch, PS5, what have you.
That's okay. Yeah, I might go for it because I already have it on digital. Like I just want it physical, so I might actually go for that.
Yeah. Nice. No, I totally get that too. I don't buy everything. I play a lot of digital games. I just wish that when I want a physical game, that if I buy it, I know I'm getting like a completely playable on disc, like all the content is there. Like, I like to collect Pokemon games. I know they retain their value. So I know if I ever want or have to sell a Pokemon game, I'm going to get double my return on investment. Not that I'm investing in the Pokemon collection, but
yeah.
When Scarlet and Violet came out with their DLC on the cartridge, they only had the first half of the DLC. Mm-hmm. And to get the full game, you either had to get maybe lucky at retail. Some cartridges were updated with the full game, but they didn't specify in the packaging that a download wasn't required. But you can order from Asia, I think. There's like an English Asian copy.
Oh, okay.
That has the DLC all on it. At one point, it was available in Japan, which is where I got my copy from. There was like an Amazon pre-order window, and I was like, yeah, this is expensive, but also I know that like this value will retain over years. And also the fewer copies there are of this game, it's going to be harder to get. Like if you want to buy this game in 10 years and you don't like good luck getting Heart Gold Soul Silver right now, right? Like that game is like $400.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like if I hadn't bought that at launch and I wanted it now, like it would be impossible. I wouldn't buy it. I just wouldn't. So
yeah. Future
proofing. Okay. This is our last headline. We're almost there. We've almost done it. This is a quick one. Cyberpunk 2077 is still in development, or the Cyberpunk 2077 sequel is still in development. You might hear 2077 is in development, and believe me, no, that game is done. For the most part. I think they're still doing the Switch 2 version, but anyway. The sequel is still in development, and the creator says the game will feature 2 cities. So Mike Pondsmith was asked recently about development on the sequel, which is being made in both Boston and Vancouver, and he revealed that Night City will return, and also feature a new city that feels like Chicago gone wrong. And that's all he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I at some point, I will play 2077, but I'm happy that they're making a sequel. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I think, speaking of physical editions that are complete, the Switch 2 version is one of the few third-party games that's going to have the full game on the cartridge. The Cyberpunk 2077, like, complete edition. It's got the DLC, it's got everything on the cartridge, it works right out of the box. Cool. It's not cheap. I might wait for a sale, but the fact that they went out of their way to make sure that there was a complete copy on a cartridge, I might finally dip my toe into this game, because the last time I dipped my toe in was launch day on PS4, and the only thing that worked was the character creator.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which was fun. I gave my avatar a dick. She was like a total trans baddie, but like, that after that, like she couldn't crouch.
Yeah.
Not because of her penis either. So. Okay, we're going to take a very short break. When we get back, we're going to be talking about the 6-1 Indie Showcase, and we'll also talk briefly about what we've been playing. Welcome back from the break, True Avatars, and now we're talking about the 6-1 Indie Showcase. So, first off, I'll just give some prelude here to what 6-1 Indie is. So this comes from their website. 6-1 Indie strives to be a critical backbone for the indie scene, supporting developers and bringing overlooked games to players. The 6-1 Indie Showcase and the Indie Game Awards serve as premier platforms for discovering, promoting, and celebrating indie games and the human beings behind them. Expanding beyond events and media, 6-1 Publishing is our boutique arm created for developers who want to maintain creative control while gaining real, impactful support. We aim to give indie games the visibility they deserve while fostering a community of developers, players, and enthusiasts who share a passion for the indie scene. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 6-1 Indie Showcase. We're not going to talk about every game. There were 48 games over 75 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a lot, and I went through it as thoroughly as I possibly could. The more games there are in a showcase, the less time I have to actually go through and research like what devs are queer inclusive, which devs have queer people on there, like, you know, below the head staff kind of thing, but like below the lead developers. For the Game Awards, I did that. It took like days. It took a long time to go through it and like vet everyone. So, what I do is I go through the list of games on Steam. I see if there's the LGBTQ plus tag. I check the developers. I see if they don't have the tag, I check the developers. If the developers have made a previous game that has the tag, I start looking into the developer. In some cases, if there's just a name on the game, as the developer, I'm like, okay, there's a chance that this person is queer. It's just a vibe I get. Like, I can't even explain it. Again, as a queer person, I just have this ability to sniff you out. That's just the way I am. Anyway, we're going to jump into the 6-1 Indie Showcase. So, Ekamy, do you want to start with like the headlining game, the big one that like everyone is talking about?
Yeah. So it's the showcase started with by showcasing Truth Scrapper, which is we talked about it a bit on the last episode of the podcast, but this is the next game from the developer of In Stars on Time named Insert Disc 5. They're also known as Adrian. Truth Scrapper is a mystery, romance, visual novel style game. If you watch the trailer, there's a lot more color in this game compared to In Stars on Time, which color was kind of a plot point, interestingly. So it's nice to see a little bit of a splash of it. It features 3 characters who are all in the same guild, who are the Truth Scrappers Guild. There's Sosot, who I think is the player character from my understanding of the trailer. There's Bets, and there's Amor. I believe, when Adrian came on, to talk a little bit about, like, after the trailer played, Adrian came on at the end of the showcase and they were saying like, I hope, you'll look forward to this game about like wonderful, like toxic lesbians. I'm just like, ooh, I'm so curious to see like what this game, like what that's going to be, it just seems fun. It seems very, very cute. And I know there's going to be some like heart-wrenching stuff just because In Stars on Time had a lot of really great emotional moments. This game also seems to be, it incorporates, memory, in a kind of like In Stars on Time did, but a little differently in that, like in Stars on Time, as Siffrin, you're looping, so you're the only one who's retaining the memories of looping, whereas everyone's like the day is just repeating. They don't have an understanding of that's what's happening with you. Whereas in Truth Scrapper, my understanding is that it's more so that Sosot, at the end of each day, I think, like just loses their memory and they're writing everything down just to like retain everything. There is a greater plot to be like, you have to find your guild members. I think there's some missing people and you're trying to like find what happened to them. And, there's that mystery element. So I think it'll be really good. I really love the style, but I also just like, the style of the creators. So, it'll be good. I've joined the Discord. So I'll look forward to getting updates either online or in that Discord. And I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. In fact, when I saw, Amor specifically, the character, I was like, wow, that looks like a character from In Stars in Time. And I know it's the artist's style and like, but specifically I was like, that looks like an In Stars in Time character. And I like that there's that distinctive through line of Adrian's, like visual distinctive style. Like I like that, when you look at this game, this is Insert Disc 5.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a really fun description too for Truth Scrapper that I just wanted to pull up just because it was amusing to me. And give me one moment as I find it when my Steam stuff's being silly.
While you're looking for that, I'll just say that currently for the game, there is no release date set yet, and it seems to be PC only at the moment. I don't think there's been announcements of other platforms.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I got it. Okay. That I would be surprised if it doesn't end up getting released on other platforms, purely because like I believe In Stars in Time also started out as a PC only, and then it came to Switch, it came to, I'm pretty sure it was available on like other big consoles too. But yeah,
that was made in RPG Maker, right? That game?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
And apparently it's very difficult to port from RPG Maker PC to RPG to other. So money had to be spent porting that game. So I'm not sure how this game's production is going, but I do know In Stars and Time wasn't just like a put it on Switch kind of job. It was like it had to be a whole production from what I know about RPG Maker.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. I didn't know that. Fair enough. So I've got the page up. So I just wanted to say that they've got basically, if you go to the Steam page, there's a section that says features for the game, and the dev has written like things like, distinctly branching story. There's going to be there's multiple endings, which is kind of cool. And then two of the bullet points are, one of them says, toxic lesbians? Wait, no, they're nice. They both want to help you out after all. And then the second one is, excuse me, Amour's a he, she, and Betts is a he, they, and they're both lesbians. Yes, this is a pronouns game with pronouns. Take my hand. Which I love. Take my hand. I thought that was so great. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think anyone playing who's interested in this because of In Stars and Time, at this point, like, if you are one of those people that doesn't like pronouns in your video games, like, I'm sorry, but
why are you playing
you were warned in In Stars and Time being overt queerness at this point, so
yeah,
you know what you're signing up for if you're not already. But
yeah.
The 6-1 Indie Showcase was also very, like, there were only 6 games in there that were like overtly LGBTQ made, or at least like in essence. So I think like a lot of people watching this showcase may actually not know that if they come to the Steam page going like, what is this game? Like, tell me more. And they're like, oh no, there's a he, she in this game. And for the record, we said he, she, but it is written he/she. So it's not like, I know some people use the he, she as an insult.
Right. Yeah.
I know especially my parents' generation, they're like, he's a he, she, or, she's a he, she. Like, but anyway, just want to make it clear that it's not written that way as like the insult way.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, this looks great. I'm excited for this. And you gave a great pitch of it too. It's a good elevator pitch. Thank you, Ekamy. Next up, we have Bonnie Bear Saves Frog Time. So lately I've been noticing, this is not a criticism of the games in general, but there's a lot of bear indie games, a lot of bear themed indie games, and a lot of frog themed indie games. This game is both. So Bonnie Bear Saves Frog Time comes from Dev Bonti Avond, which is 2 musicians who make games. It has the LGBTQ plus tag on Steam. The summary is as follows. Bonnie Bear Saves Frog Time is a frog-obsessed comedy adventure featuring tactical frog battles, bizarre quests, and the mother of all frogs, the Mother Frogger. Grab your toad bag, count those Cocoa Duds, and explore an absurd world where every conflict is settled through frog time. You can collect, buy, and trade lots of unique little frogs, defeat the island bully with them, infiltrate a beehive disguised as a bee, of course, play along with cozy songs, and maybe get in a sled race with a vampire. Settle every conflict through frog time. Hop your favorite frog strategically across the field and maybe feel a little bit better about yourself. Might feature a bit too many frogs. Sorry. So I'm not entirely sure how this game is queer besides having the tag. However, I guess this is a little bit of queerness to it, but Bonnie Bear has they them pronouns, so the main character.
Nice.
There's also a great song. This has nothing to do with queerness, but there's a great song called Look at My Six Pack. And there is a 1-hour loop of this song on YouTube from the game's creators. It is amazing. I'm not going to sing it here because I don't sing, but it is awesome. There's also currently a demo available if this game interests you, if frog battles interest you, if the song interests you, if anything about this game's adorable as hell. This is it. There's a demo you can play. There is currently no release date, and it is currently set for PC only, I believe. I couldn't confirm any platforms for these because the only thing that exists currently is the Steam pages. There weren't any official websites for any of these games that list platforms. I might be wrong about building relationships, which we're going to get into later. There might be platforms for that. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm excited for Bonnie Bear. I remember watching the showcase and just like I was writing down all the games that interested me that I would look into later, and that immediately came up, and I went, okay, adding it to the list. This looks great.
And if for anyone's worried, like I'm not really into animal abuse. Like I don't like seeing it. Like I play Pokemon, I'm a hypocrite. But I also said like if Pokemon were real, I would never let them battle. They would be, they would live in my apartment and they'd be safe. But the frogs don't hurt each other. It's just they're jumping across like. They're hopping strategically across a board. I didn't see any actual combat or anything like that. And they're like actual little frogs. Like they look like pets, for example. So like,
cute.
They're not like stylized the way Pokemon are, where it's like, okay, well this frog can't be hurt because he's a water type. Like he can shoot ice beams at your face. He can defend himself. Yeah. This isn't like that. So. Okay, let's jump into building relationships here, which we've talked about on the podcast before. So I'll just set it up, and then Ekamy, I want to hear your thoughts, because I've given my thoughts on multiple occasions. But the developer, it's called Building Relationships. It's literally a house that bounces around and dates. So you are building relationships as a building in a relationship. Anyway, in case the pun is not clear, it's an audio podcast. It's kind of hard to convey that. Anyway, if the developer is Tanant Games. Steam summary. Experience life as a house in this silly adventure game. Play as a building as you roll, jump, and wave dash across a cozy island. Meet eligible structures, romance them, and experience a bizarre yet oddly familiar story. Or go fishing instead, though we replaced fish with cars to make more sense.
Yes. I love eligible structures. That's so good. I'm really looking forward to this game. I streamed the demo a number of months ago now, and I really enjoyed it. The fishing was so funny. Just fishing for cars. It was so fun. It seems like very silly, but like well written, and like I really like the look of it. Like it's a little bit of like it's pixelated. It feels a bit like N64, like kind of
PS1.
I had a lot of fun with the demo, so I'm sure the game will be a lot of fun.
Well, speaking of the demo, I'm pretty sure the house as he bounces, or as they bounce, makes like squeaky noises as it goes, like kind of like a bouncy ball almost. And that demo, though, is available on Steam currently. So if you do want to try out this demo that Ekamy is talking about, it is available right now to play. It is planned for 2025 release. There's no date beyond that window. But I have seen the developer ramping up kind of marketing all over and getting feedback and all kinds of stuff. So I feel like it's on track, at least for now. And I mean, it's an indie game. You know, it might not make its release date, but like big deal. Like when it releases, it'll be great. What does Miyamoto say? Video games release sometimes. In the States. And it is currently only planned for PC. As far as I know, again, I couldn't confirm that, but I'm pretty sure it's PC only at the moment. And most of these indie games are going to be PC only because it's the easiest to develop for. And then you have to buy dev kits from Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and then you have to develop different engines. And anyway, actually, maybe not engines. I don't know anything about game development. Clearly, don't listen to me. Just that most of these games are PC only. Okay. Next up, we have Karimara, Beneath the Forlorn Limbs. The developer is Bastinus Rex. The Steam summary is as follows. You are the Karimara, and your mission is to conjure a ghost by answering their questions using your cards. A short and creepy fairy tale full of surprises and mysteries. Inspired by obscure Normandy folklore, almost all textures and sounds are handmade and come from photos or I think it's supposed to say recorded from the French countryside. So it has the LGBTQ plus tag on Steam. Again, I'm not really sure how queer it is, in what way it's queer. I would assume probably some of the ghosts. But anyway, it's charming yet creepy. Think kind of like Tim Burton. It's this first person game where you interview creatures and spirits, and some of them give some very funny answers. Like one of them, so you're giving something to this ghost, and they say like, "Can I eat it?" No? Then I don't give a shit. Which is all pets I've ever had. It's supposed to be less than an hour to finish the game. It's supposed to be very short, as the description says. So it's coming very soon too. That's their words. Cool. Coming very soon to PC and Mac.
Cool. Nice.
We also have Blue Ridge Hunting. This game was made by Jade Meadows, a trans woman. She appears at the end of the trailer with a trans flag in the background. The Steam summary is as follows. Blue Ridge Hunting is a co-op horror game where you and your friends investigate, document, and hunt cryptids in the Appalachian Mountains. So, it's pretty simple. It's Phasmophobia, but with cryptids in the mountains instead of creepy houses with ghosts. And that's not an insult. It's just to give you a picture of what this game looks and feels like to play. It's really creepy looking. It kind of does have that N64 PS1 vibe that like Building Relationships has. But it also looks really cool to like investigate cryptids. The hunting part is less exciting for me. That's my own personal taste. Not into hunting, but it does look really fun just to like explore and discover cryptids. Cause there's like a lot of opportunities for different kinds of creatures and beasts and things in the woods to find in the mountains. And it has a great sense of humor. The trailer opens with a very matter-of-fact southern U.S. guy basically trying to convince you that cryptids are real. So it's coming soon to PC Early Access. The date is unknown for that, but the game currently features a healthy amount of content and is playable and fun. I'm quoting from the Steam page here. However, as time goes on, I plan to expand on the game's story, monsters, and features while utilizing player feedback to help further development. There are a lot of ideas I have for Blue Ridge Hunting that aren't core to the game's experience, but I would still like to implement them. Your feedback will directly influence which content is expanded upon and in which ways.
Very cool. I don't play a whole lot of horror games necessarily, but and I mean I've played a little bit of Phasmo, but it does seem it does seem pretty fun. So I'd be interested to follow its development.
Yeah, and Phasmophobia has a pretty big player base, and a lot of that player base is queer. I'm not sure the percentage amount, but I did see a meme going around, like a shit post of a Discord server for Phasmophobia of all trans people, and it was just, the server was called Transphobia, which I thought was fucking hilarious.
I saw that. I saw that screenshot. It was good.
Yeah. So I'm sure that player base will discover this as well, if they haven't already, and this will be, part of the rotation of games to play together. I think the fact that and I don't think Phasmophobia is made by queer people. It's not really a queer game. But this being kind of a similar thing, but also queer developed, is a big deal. Now, the game doesn't have the tag on Steam, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of the queerness in the game, but obviously a queer person making the game, their essence is going to shine through regardless. So, all right, we have one more game. It's called Oddbat. So it's made by a group of people: Marcos Vendrell, Guillermo Monfort, Clara Molina, and Aquiles TM. If I ever slowly pronounce a name and then pause before the last name, it's because I do not know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But anyway, one of the devs worked on Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and another one of the devs is bisexual. So it is a queer game, even though it does not have the tag. Their bisexuality will appear somewhere in this game, I'm certain. In some way, it will manifest. But anyway, so the Steam description for Oddbat is as follows. Have you ever wondered how vampires attain immortality? Join this vampire who transforms into a bat to overcome all the challenges that arise in order to perform a ritual unlike any other. It's a demanding platformer similar to Celeste. Between each challenge, we lighten up the tone with comedic encounters, while we drain the blood of every living being we come across. Oddbat is a platformer that explores a simple mechanic. What if you had infinite jumps? The concept may seem too simple, or even like an easy game. I can fly. However, it's quite the opposite. Oddbat cranks up the challenge with intense platforming obstacles that will push your skills to the limit. And I was watching the trailer, it did look very difficult. The game takes place on a 2D open world where the player is free to explore the entire map and tackle challenges in any order they choose. So it's a precision 2D platformer. It's also a Metroidvania. It's got a bit of an aesthetic look like in Stars in Time and Undertale with like a black and white aesthetic. Like it looks like an NES game. The only difference between this game and like, in Stars in Time and Undertale is obviously this is a 2D side scroller, not a top down 2D game. And the humor is kind of like What We Do in the Shadows. Have you seen that movie, Ekamy?
No, I want to. Isn't there a show as well? There
is also a show. It's also filmed here in Toronto.
No way! Well, I have been meaning to watch the show for a while because I love Matt Berry so much, but, yeah.
Watch the movie first, because the show kind of comes off the movie, but,
okay.
It's also right up your alley. Like, I'm surprised you haven't watched it. Like, this is
I know, me too! I do want, at some point I will.
And yeah, Matt Berry in the show is really, really, really funny. Every time they transform to a bat, they scream "bat," and then they fly off. It's really, really great. That's the vibe I'm getting from this game. And there's also this one scene in the trailer where you're the bat and you're going from human to human drinking blood. And every person kind of dies after you drink their blood. But one person doesn't die, and she stands up and she stays standing, and then a big middle finger icon appears above her head.
Nice.
Oh, and also the game will let you collect pets for your in-game house. I think they said there's going to be like 60 pets or over 60 pets, something like that. So that's fun. I think that's super cool. Nice. This game is probably going to be too difficult for me. I like baby-ass baby mode in my video games, and I'm not sure if there's going to be an easy mode in this one. I hope there is, because accessibility is great for all things. But obviously, even Celeste has an easy mode, even though the point of that game is to not be easy.
Yeah.
So hopefully they include that. But it is coming soon to PC. There's no date. Just coming soon. Do you have any final thoughts before we move on to what we've been playing?
There was a lot of really great games that were in that showcase. I also wanted to highlight that I really enjoyed. So there was a bit of a pre-show before the 6-1 Indie where there was a person in a pigeon mask or something. They were very silly. But they had this great shirt that I think more or less said like "Protect Trans Folks" or something like that. It was just really nice. Yeah, it was just nice to see the vibe of the whole thing seemed just really welcoming, and it's the first time. I don't know if this is the first time they've done the 6-1 Indie Showcase. Maybe they have or have not, but I look forward to future showcases from them.
Not because I don't want to see more queer indie games, but I hope they're annual because there's been a lot of showcases the last few months. It's ramping up. It's too busy. I know Steam Next Fest, every 3 months there's a new Steam Next Fest, and it's like, I can't keep up. The podcast. Anyway, when I started this podcast, I did not consider June. I was like, let's make a queer video game podcast. That'll be fun and inclusive, right? Oh yeah, let's cover news too. That'll be really smart, Zoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was like, oh yeah, June is coming. June is coming. I fucked up. So yeah, just like a little tease. We do have a bunch of podcasts lined up. There's going to be a couple bonus episodes in there as well. You know, like 2 days, I think the day before the Xbox showcase or Summer Games Fest, which is one of those two. I think the Friday is Summer Game Fest. The day before that is the Switch 2 launch.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So there's just like, there's a lot going on next month. There's like a lot. And now there's rumors that there's going to be, again, this is not confirmed. This is a rumor. Don't believe everything you hear on a podcast or read on the internet. But there's supposedly in June, there's going to be a PlayStation, not showcase, but like a state of play and a Nintendo Direct right around when the Switch launches. I have theories on when specifically those are coming, but those are two things I have not considered in my schedule for things because they are not confirmed. But as soon as they are confirmed, my head is going to pop off. So, but yeah, tune into True Avatars. We're going to have coverage of everything. I'm going to do my best to find out all the cool stuff that I think is relevant to queer people, but also the stuff that is queer specifically. So we'll try to highlight a good mix of all those things. Yeah. Like Elden Ring is not a queer game, but a lot of queer people like to play Elden Ring. So I talk about it. Same with Pokemon, same with Sonic the Hedgehog. So I try to cover stuff like that too on this. And then there's just like general game news that affects everyone that I think is relevant to the podcast. So yeah, anyway, Ekamy, we've been playing some games.
Yeah.
And we both played a demo this week.
Yes.
We both played Quantum Witch.
Yes. It was great. I actually as of the date that we're recording this episode, I actually just streamed this game, the demo of this game yesterday. And because the dev was nice enough to pass along a little heat for that. Yeah, it was
She's
really
amazing,
fun.
by the way. We have an interview coming up with her on June 23rd that you don't want to miss. I can actually talk about this interview because it's actually been recorded already.
Oh,
but I'm saving it for just before launch of the game. But she's super amazing. Go follow her on Blue Sky. I'm going to have to get her handle. I'll pull
Nikki
that up.
J Games. That's what it is. Nikki J Games. Yeah. It's on Blue Sky. That's how but maybe other socials too. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's very like the comment, like the writing is really solid, and the comedy is so it's so good. Like I was laughing.
Hilarious.
It's so funny. I was laughing the whole time, and it just felt really fun, and like there's a lot of like they introduced the world in like a fun, like a cool way. Like, I mean, honestly, most of the demo is you're like, oh, my fare, or my, like the little sheep, like my sheep have escaped my fare. I must go get them because they're where they shouldn't be. And they're like munching on fabric and like
taking hot tub baths and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's like the through line. And then as you're going through, you're learning about like the town and the characters, and there's like a hook at the end of the demo anyway about like a mysterious figure and everything. But it's really good. I feel like I don't want to say too much about it, just because I really would love people to just like go and play the demo for themselves, just because it's just really fun not to know a whole lot. And I know that they did just put out a recent update to their demo, like as of yesterday. So I think they added a couple things. So yeah, it's available on Steam.
Yeah, the demo's available on Steam. And yeah, Nikki J. I asked her if she prefers, like, I wondered if Nikki J was like a first name, like a second first name, or a middle name, or a last name. Anyway, so Nikki, she said the game is like short, like it's 3 to 4 hours. Like obviously there's multiple endings and multiple branching paths and like all kinds of stuff you can do in this game. There's lots of stuff to find. You can do multiple playthroughs and see new stuff. But if you're one of those players that's doing a single playthrough, you just don't want to be spoiled for the main overarching story. Yeah, it's very short. Like the demo is about an hour, but the game is about 3 or 4 hours. So I don't want to spoil too much in the demo either, because yeah, it is like the demo is a quarter of the game as far as I'm concerned. And then there's some people who said they played 2 hours in the demo and never finished it. According to her. So I'm kind of spoiling the interview a little bit, but, yeah, no, it was, she's amazing. The game is hilarious. There is one scene where you walk into the market, and the market is definitely not other video game characters from other game series. There's certainly not Pac-Man, certainly not Lara Croft, and certainly not Princess Peach selling their wares after they've been kicked out of their own universes. Which I enjoyed very much. I
saw the.
There's also
when Pac-Man.
We should note though.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say when I saw Pac-Man, I thought of you. I was like, oh, I was always gonna love this.
Yeah, we were talking about special interests and focus and obsessions, and I was like, no, you put Pac-Man in here. I mean, like, I'm obsessed with Pac-Man. I'm waiting for Pac-Man World 2 repack with bated breath, which I tweet and skeet every chance I get and get mad at Bandai Namco. Anyway, I should note though, this game is also like, it has a very lighthearted sense of humor, but it's based on very heavy themes and Nikki's life story. So she escaped a religious and a homophobic cult, and this game is about that. So like, even though it's played for humor, it's very much like humor processing very dark things. So keep that in mind. This game may not be for everybody, although I do say that like the humor makes it very accessible and approachable to the point like we could joke about it in the interview a little bit, right? Not to too much extent, not to like undercut, traumatic experiences. But there is one scene in the demo where you actually go into the cult, basically the church of this cult, and they try to kill you, and it's played for humor after the attempt to kill you. But like that first moment is kind of scary. Like the cults scare the shit out of me. It's one of those things that like I've never experienced a cult. But like just the idea of like a cult, the way it works, I know enough to know like I don't want to ever have to deal with that. It scares me. I've had nightmares about that. So these are things just to keep in mind about the game. But yeah, it's very colorful. It's got a very classic, like early 80s PC computer kind of aesthetic to it. Yeah. I think it's great. I enjoyed the demo that I played. And there's achievements in the demo, and I didn't even get all the achievements. Like I was like, there's so much to do and find in just the demo alone. And the game comes out on June 24th, I think.
Yes. So very soon. Yes.
And like I said, there will be, we will be doing like a review of sorts after the game comes out. Nice. But the June 23rd, that podcast episode will have an interview with Nikki J. So look forward to that. And the only reason I'm holding it till June 23rd is so it's right before the game launches. So it's relevant and timely and stuff like that. And also like there's already so much stuff coming in the next few weeks too. I don't want it to get kind of buried amongst everything else. So. Yeah. Okay, so I think one of the games I was going to talk about today, I'm going to wait till I've played it a little bit more to talk about it more in depth, because I'd like to give it its proper time in the sun. But another game that you played and the game that I came across on Reddit is called Crescent County. So I'll just quickly pitch it super fast just to get people kind of like, salivating. It's like, do you like lesbians? Do you like witches? Do you like RPGs? Do you like life sims? Do you like racing games? And do you like motorcycles? Because this is the game for you. So I found this dev on Reddit. She was posting on Our Girl Gamers, that she's making, this crossbreed of all these genres and ideas and aesthetics to make this really cool witch racing game that's like lesbian at its very core. And you played it. You played the demo. I haven't had a chance to play the demo yet.
I did. I've played the demo twice, actually. I streamed it probably maybe a month ago. It was a number of weeks ago. And then I actually played it again last night from when we were recording. It's really cute. It's very colorful. The colors are really nice. Like it's very like a lot of like bright pinks and yellows and like the opening area is very, you start off in like it's like sunset, so it's a very like just aesthetically pleasing visual that you get when you start. The game overall seems super like the relationships that your character has, like friendships that your character has with the two other witches. That's the only thing I think I could call them at this point. But it's like super sweet. The premise is that, from what I gathered, is that you as the character who you play as Lou, you just moved to Crescent County, and you're getting settled, and you start with you get a job making deliveries on your motorbroom. It was
Kiki's delivery service.
Yeah. Which I mean, that's like one of my favorite. That probably is my favorite Studio Ghibli movie. So like,
finally someone else who agrees with me. It's the best one.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so like, and this game actually was something that I heard about from another streamer, or a YouTube content person that I follow, and I cannot remember her name sadly, but she posted playing the demo, and I was like, this looks really cool and cute. So I streamed it a few weeks ago, and I think when I was streaming it, like, it was the end of the night. I was tired. Like, I was streaming a lot of demos that day. It was probably like the 4th demo, and it was like 11:30 at night. And I'm usually in bed by like 10. But I was like, oh, but I really want to play this game. Like, I want to try it. So when I booted it up and I played through it, I didn't finish the demo, I think, because it was so late. I was like, let me at least do 20 minutes and then I'll like finish the demo another day. So I played through 20 minutes of it. I will say, like, with how fast everything moves, like when you're on your witch room, like the scenery like speeds by a little bit. You can look around at the scenery, like it's still very nice, but with the speeding, I did get a little bit dizzy. Partially also might have been because it was late and I was tired, but if anyone does have any kind of motion sickness, it might be just something to keep an eye, like, or keep in mind if you want to play this game. Yeah, it was just like, I sat back and I was like, okay, well, there's like a couple things that, like, I want to continue this demo, but maybe my PC's being weird, and, you know, it's everything's very fast, or frame rate might be a little, maybe not what I was entirely expecting. So I'm going to play the demo again and I'm going to finish it. So I played it again last night. And it ran great. There was it was still obviously when you're on your broom, you still speed by, but, I didn't get motion sick. I played the whole thing. It's quite cute. Basically when I played the demo, when I streamed it for the first time, I didn't really get to the delivery portion. Like, I just played the first area, and then the next day is like, you start doing deliveries. And the game has a fun, like, how do I describe it? Like, when you're on your witch broom, there's some really cool, like basically they give you a hint. They're like, oh, you could take a shortcut and go this way. And you're like, oh, okay, so we'll take the shortcut. And then as you're going through the shortcut, they'll give you ramps to like fly off of and then float down. And then they'll have like, kind of like wind boosts that you'll be able to go through, and they'll boost your speed a bit. And the nice thing too about that you're flying on a broom motorbroom, is that, like, when you finish a delivery and it's kind of like, let's say it's high up, like there's like a bunch of hills and it's like a house on a hill or whatever, then you're like, okay, next delivery. And the person who you're delivered to is literally like, oh yeah, like, thanks so much. Your next delivery is here. Well, you can just like glide off. You can just like go down these hills and you could just bypass all the road that you took, right? So it's so satisfying to just like float down and get to like the next area. Yeah, it was really nice. Also, the music was really good. I quite like the music. It's very like indie and nice. Yeah.
Yeah, the trailer has a great song in it too. And yeah, that's the thing too, is like, if you get motion sick playing this, or it's not optimized properly, this game is like, they just launched a Kickstarter. They got their funding in 24 hours, I think, but the game is like still in development. I mean, what Anna was saying on, I can't remember Anna's last name, but Anna is the person making this game. She's in charge.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
She said she approached 50 different publishers and none of them were interested in this, which is surprising to me, because like, clearly they put a lot of work into like just this demo to get it presentable for like publishers to see what they were possibly paying for, and not one publisher was interested. And I find that very hard to believe, because again, everyone who's seen this game on the internet has been like, lesbian broom racing witches, like dating sim, like,
sign me up. Yeah.
Like, it ticks a lot of boxes for a lot. Like, for me, that ticks every box. Like, that's like, this is the game. Mm-hmm. And this isn't an advertisement for the Kickstarter. But there's a demo on Steam. There is a Kickstarter. It's currently open if you are interested in supporting the game. I mean, I always recommend supporting queer developers. Every chance you get, like, queer games, queer developers. We need more of them. We'll never have enough of them. Support them. But this is not like a paid advertisement. Like, I'm not in, like this, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just full disclosure. This is just a game I saw that I thought was really cool. And then when I told Ekamy about it, she's like, I played the demo. And I was like, guess what we're talking about in the podcast. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the other thing that I quite liked about it too was the like, I remember when I downloaded the demo and I was like, oh, this looks like really, or when I saw the trailer, I was like, this looks really like it's going to be good for like high performance, like computers that can support high performance and like graphical ability. And if you, when you load up the demo, like you can go to your settings and legitimately they probably have like 20 or 20, maybe not 20. They have a ton of settings that you can set, and you can like graphically you could set, like if you needed to make it run a little better, you could set it to low, medium, high, like the and then you can set your frame rate, or you can say no max frame rate, like VSync, all that stuff. They just have a ton of options, which I think is really nice. Like I feel like if I was playing the game on my old laptop, like I used to stream on a laptop before I had my PC built, I feel like this would be one of those games where initially I'd be like, oh no, like can this run on my laptop? But seeing those options, I'm like, yeah, I could definitely have played this game on that laptop just with everything that's been presented to me. And like, that's only for the demo. Like, I was just like, wow, you can have all these resolution and graphical options purely from a demo. Like, that's incredible. That's really cool. So, yeah,
especially for a game that's years away. I mean, apparently, supposedly the Kickstarter says like they're planning to get stuff out by end of 2026 for like deliverables. Again, every Kickstarter I've ever funded that's a game has never met those deadlines. This is not a criticism of developers and their abilities, but like I would not be surprised if this game is 2027 or 2028, no matter how finished it looks now. Like I'm sure, especially as they get more funding too, if this game like shoots past its funding goals, I'm sure they have stretch goals and they're going to add more and more stuff, and that will take longer.
Yeah.
So it's just the way it is. It's just how Kickstarters work. And if you're going to go fund a Kickstarter and you've never funded a video game Kickstarter before, just keep these things in mind. Like I've had Kickstarters there's a game I still haven't received from a Kickstarter. It's not a queer game.
Yeah, same.
But like it was supposed to be delivered years ago. There's another Kickstarter I funded that was like a soundtrack. Like it was a reorchestration of a TV show that I like. And I eventually got the digital files, but I was supposed to get a CD as well. And that just never happened, even though the album's been done for 3 years.
Right.
So like just keep in mind that like, and Kickstarter tells you this too, but just like keep that in mind. I'm not saying the game, again, Crescent County. Crescent County is so far along. I think this is a game that's going to release. We just don't know when.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was quite fun. I would really recommend the demo.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try it out. I'm going to see if I can get it running on my Steam Deck too, because I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Hopefully too, like if this game does really well, maybe, I haven't even checked the stretch goals, but maybe they can get the stretch goals, like they can get ported to like Nintendo Switch 2 or Xbox or PlayStation 5 would be great.
Yeah,
that'd be a great game
cool.
for consoles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I'll just quickly, just to make sure we get all the points here, I just want to explain that it was a very sapphic game, and also I didn't read the Steam summary, so I'm just going to quickly read that, and then we're going to wrap up the show. Crash headfirst into this witch tech open world, drifting and driving on the back of your new motorbroom. Make deliveries, trick out your broom, race your new friends and crushes as the sun sets, get into gossip, sort your life out, and discover what it means to find home. Okay. So yes, that again is Crescent County. I know I'm pitching this like it's an advertisement. I just think we should all support great queer-made content. Okay.
Absolutely.
That is our show for today. Ekamy, thank you so much for joining. First off, thank you so much for joining me again. You're going to be here on most of the episodes the next few weeks, so everyone get used to Ekamy's voice, because you're going to hear it a lot more than, probably as much as you hear mine.
Get ready.
But where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram, Blue Sky, as well as Twitch and YouTube, under Ekamy, so that's Ekamy. Instagram and Blue Sky, there's an underscore before before the start of my name and at the end of the name, so yeah.
When I'm tagging you too, sometimes I think it's Instagram and Threads. I don't have to add the underscore to find you when I'm searching you. If I just write @Ekamy, it finds you. It figures it out pretty quickly. I don't know if that's just because I've tagged you before and it's like machine learning, but
that's fair. Well, if anyone has any issues finding me, like I can also just visually describe, like my avatar's not really going to change for a long time. It's me with a little black cat on my head. So it's a little animated version of me.
It's very cute.
Thank you.
Thanks to your avatars for joining me for another episode of your Queer Video Game Podcast. If you've made it this far into the episode, I really appreciate you taking the time to support queer-made content. If you want to support the show, it would be really great if you could leave a rating, review, or comment on your preferred podcast platform. I welcome you to check out the website trueavatarspodcast.com, all one word. That's trueavatarspodcast.com. You can also find the show on Blue Sky, Threads, and YouTube under the handle @trueavatars, all one word, and on Instagram under trueavatars. Importantly, if you or anyone you know is queer and involved with video games in some way, please don't be shy. I would love to hear from more queer voices in video games. Your voice is unique and valid and worth sharing with the world. And if you don't want to be on the show or know anyone is interested, but you know about a cool queer video game or a games industry story that's queer related, please let me know. The show's official email is trueavatars.podcast@gmail.com. That's trueavatars.podcast@gmail.com. You can also feel free to reach out via the website or the aforementioned social media pages. Things are tough out there and queer people need to stick together when we can. Bye, True Avatars. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking with you all again next week. Take care and stay safe.